What if there is a man or men in your life that are silently struggling and you don't know it? Most of the time, the signs are not obvious. And so in this video, I'm going to show you 5 subtle ways that men hide their pain, but most importantly, how you can step in and truly support them when they need it the most. So let's get into it. Now, most men struggle in silence. Did you know around 1,400 men die by suicide each day globally? And in the majority of cases that I've heard personally of these happening is that the people around and the closest people around to the man who committed suicide had absolutely no idea that he got to that point, had no idea that he was capable of doing what he did. They were blindsided by it. And unfortunately, this is the case for the majority of us men, is that it's ingrained in us to stuff down our emotions, to suppress what we're feeling, our hardships, our challenges, and soldier on to be a man, to be strong. The problem is, for some men, is that the pain and the suffering gets way too much, that the only antidote, the only solution is to remove ourselves, for them to remove their lives, to finish life early. And this is what is tragic that is happening in this day and age. Now, I've had my own fair share of mental health struggles. I've battled with anxiety for the best part of the 3/4 of my life, and I've lived with incessant worry, heightened sense of stress, and it's led me to an unhealthy reliance on alcohol, porn addiction, and also just different ways of continuously numbing. And it's also led to depressive states. I've had states of depression where I've felt genuinely worthless and hopeless as a human. And it got to a point where I questioned my own existence and had thoughts of suicide ideation, which was a very, very scary place to be. And so from learning from what I've gone through in my journey, and also coaching men over the last 7 years, I've recognized patterns of the ways that men hide their pain and silently struggle, but also how to help these types of men, and also what I needed when I was going through mine. So here is what I believe are 5 subtle ways that men in your life are silently struggling. Number 1, isolating more than usual. When a man faces inner turmoil, we have this belief that we have to do it on our own. And so we will avoid others because we don't want to be a burden to them. We think that we are a burden. And we also don't want to be perceived as weak. Or we don't want to be perceived as anything other than what other people recognize us as or for. And so when men isolate more than usual, this is a deeper sign that there's an inner struggling that's going on. Number 2, he won't talk about himself. As men, when we're going through deep struggle, we generally don't want to talk about ourselves. And this can be for a variety of reasons. One of them can be we don't want to bring attention to ourselves in fear that our vulnerabilities or our struggles will be exposed. So there's a fear of judgment there. We'll fear that we'll be judged, we'll be rejected. And also there's a fear of losing control in that aspect. The second one would be is that we don't feel worthy to talk about ourselves. When we are in a deep state of struggle and pain, it takes a massive hit to our self-esteem and how we think about ourselves. And finally, we don't want to be a burden once again, because we genuinely believe that we are a burden. Number 3, stops doing the things that he usually enjoys. When a man stops doing the activities that he usually enjoys or he takes great pleasure from, this is a sure sign that a man's mental and emotional struggles have overconsumed him, have overwhelmed him, and have exhausted him. And so again, with a diminishing self-esteem, there's this belief that we don't deserve to do the things that we enjoy. We don't deserve to do the things that bring us happiness. It's not worth the effort, or we aren't worth the effort. Number 4, unresponsive. As men, when we are in deep struggle, we will become more distant and unresponsive. This is to take attention away from us so that we can go more insular, battle through our struggles on our own, and not be a burden for others once again. And so men, we were never taught how to express and process our emotions in a healthy way, so we avoid them completely. And the problem with that is we fear losing control. We don't know how to manage and control our emotions, so that if we do be around other people, we're scared of the consequences of our emotions coming out because we can't control them. And this can jeopardize the impact or the the perception that people have of us, how people will relate to us and what they'll think of us. And that's going on in the back of our mind. So it's easy for us to become unresponsive. Number 5, he doesn't mention his future. When a man is in deep pain and struggle, his ability to see a bright future ahead of him diminishes and he begins to lose hope. When a man stops looking towards the future and talking about his future, this is a sign that he is losing hope. And hope is so essential to build resilience, to be able to move forward in life. And so a sign that a man is in a depression, is going through a depression, is when a man is in a state of hopelessness over a long period of time. And when we're in this state of hopelessness and depression, it comes with feelings of feeling worthless and useless as a man and in this world. And so this can intensify a loss of hope, which can be so damaging for us. So the big question here is, how do we support these men? Well, number 1, it's to check in and have multiple touch points. And you're doing this from a place of not because you suspect something is up, but because you genuinely care and value this person. And so it's more about connecting with them, right? And letting them know that you're in their lives, you're still here, you value them, and they're important to you. And when you do it, be normal. Ask how certain things are going. Take an interest in what they're doing. Tell them that you're thinking about them. Tell them something that you appreciate about them, or you want to acknowledge of something that they've done in the past or how they've helped you. And so I find this as a great way to help men open up versus asking men directly, how are they? Asking them, how are you okay? What's going on? Because men, as you know, will tend to want to deflect. They'll want to just say, hey, I'm fine, I'm good, no worries. And it's a very standard response of deflection. But if you are genuinely concerned, what you can do is a more subtle way of just offering observation, where you might say, hey, I noticed that you haven't been coming to our coffee catch-ups in the last few weeks. Just want to check in to see how you're traveling. And yeah, would love to hear a life update from you. Something as subtle as this can just be a nice little invitation for a man just to open up a conversation. And that sometimes that's all that they need. Number 2, offer to hang out with him without expecting anything in return. Just offer to hang out. Not because you want to fix him, not because you want to be his savior, not because you're expecting anything from him. Just offer to hang out because you genuinely want to. You value his company, you enjoy his company, and he will feel that. When a man feels like he is in a space where he can be himself, where nothing is expected of him and he doesn't need to be anything for anyone, that is when a man can fully relax and let go of this need to perform. And so when a man feels this safety from you, it builds trust. And this connection is a vital part of him in his healing journey and can open up that space for him to open up and start a conversation with you. Finally, share a vulnerable story of your own. Share something that is vulnerable to you, personal to you, a hardship that you've gone through, or a side of you that they've never seen before. This will create openness and safety between you two. And this will also allow them to feel less lonely on their journey, in their struggles, in their feelings. And it will normalize that going through hardships is what happens in life and that we can get through them. And so this can also inspire men to start to share a little bit more and more about what they're going through, because you're leading the way. You're courageous enough to share, and that can be infectious for them to do the same as well. And so when a man can start sharing it, they can start to release what they're ashamed of. And that is what usually brings us down, is that we carry shame. We don't know what to do with that shame. We're scared to share that shame. But if we can start to let that shame go and be witnessed by another person in safety, this is huge for the healing process. Now, even if they don't open up and share something about themselves, the sheer fact that you've opened up and told them that story, they won't forget that story. They won't forget that experience they had with you, and they'll forever remember it, and they can draw upon that in the future. So just to wrap up, the goal here is connection and not intervention. It's about offering a space for men to feel safe, seen, heard, and supported. And if you approach men with the intention of connection versus with the intention of trying to fix them, they are far more likely to connect back with you. And so if you have any men in your life that you suspect may be silently struggling, I encourage you to reach out and connect with them, to create a space where your connection can fill them with love and hope once again. And this can be enormous for their healing journey and for them to feel worthy and useful again in their lives. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. If you found this video useful, please share this video to anyone who you think needs to hear this right now. And comment below if you have any other signs that I may have missed that you see in men who are silently struggling. Men need support in this world, and it starts from you, it starts from us, just by starting a conversation. Until next time, thanks for watching. See you then.